Welcome everyone to our second BIPOC listening session as part of our Urge Fall events. Today we're going to be talking about taking care of ourselves kind of as a follow-up to our session 7. If anyone remembers racism and self-care, we talked about some strategies, but today we'll be joined by Dr. Lauren Kendall Brooks. And I don't want to go too further. Anji will introduce her, but I just wanted to let you all know that we will be recording her presentation about the first 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Then the second part of the presentation will not be recorded, so we can have some private or personal conversations or questions that you may have, and we'll try our best and then to answer all of them. And then afterwards, we will jump right into our discussion questions for the evening, and we'll end promptly at 5:30. And with that, I'll pass it right over to Anji. Thank you.
Thanks, Gabe. Hey, everybody. I'm Anjali Scott Price, or Anji, one of the leaders of Urge and leading these BIPOC sessions along with Gabriel Carlene. So just before we jump in, I just want to make note that at our last BIPOC session and this session, we're going to be gathering the notes that we have, and we're planning to present them at AGU. So we want to put them in a format to be able to disseminate the information that we get from these, to let pods know what we've been talking about, how they can better support you, those kinds of things. So be on the lookout for more information about how we're going to do that at AGU. And we hope to see you all at AGU as well. So with that, I'd like to introduce Dr. Lauren Kendall Brooks. She holds a BS in Psychology and Human Services from Clayton State University and an MS in General Psychology. And just last year, she received her PhD in Health Psychology from Virginia State University. Congratulations. She is currently a postdoctoral associate at the University of Maryland, College Park in the Department of Human Development and Quantitative Methodology. Her research focus is on math anxiety, math achievement as resiliency, health disparities as it relates to academic achievement, understanding the cognitive factors that relate to math anxiety and achievement, health disparities in Black men and women, and STEM education. So quite a breadth of research. That's awesome. Thank you for being with us today, Dr. Lauren Kendall Brooks, and I will pass it over to you.
Hello. Hi, my name is Lauren. And some things to start off with. I stutter, so if you see a pause, it's probably me, not your computer. And my cat and dog are right here, and they probably will make an appearance. My cat is in the corner right now at some point. So, and also this is slightly interactive. I do have some polls and questions that hopefully you all would like to participate in. So let me figure out how to share my screen. I think the worst part about this is that when I go to share my screen, I can't see you all anymore. So if you have something to say, just yell in the middle, and that's okay.
Or people can also put something in the chat and I'll be monitoring the chat.
Yeah, okay. Share. Okay. Trying to share just a portion. It never works out the way that you want it to. Okay. Portion and more of a portion. Sorry, guys. I wish I could have gotten this together beforehand.
No, you're fine. We can see it.
Okay. Okay. Is it good?
Yes, it's good.
Okay. All right. So radical self-care in doing anti-racist work. So anti-racism work is necessary in all aspects of today. And at the same time, it is exhausting, frustrating, isolating, in all of the negative things that we can think about. People often experience a lot of heaviness while doing anti-racist work. They might feel hurt that their colleagues feel negatively, that they feel negative ways about them, or knowing just that their colleagues are experiencing different forms of oppression. Many of us often carry a lot of fear. They worry about physical safety, and depending on where you are in your career, you might also worry about job safety and alienation. So anti-racism work can be challenging, enriching, and rewarding and satisfying when we find strength and power in the collective, like doing things we're doing today. So when you think about self-care, what do you think about? And I'm going to go to this poll. So you can either go to the website, pollev.com, and then type in my code there, or you can just text my code, or use 37607 and then put in Lauren or L Kendall Brooks 326 and send in your text message. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yep, it's working for me to go on the website.
Okay. So as I get responses, they will come through. I'm going to participate as well. Breaks. I'm going to move this down so we can see it better. There. Exercise. So seems like you all are there. A lot of times sometimes when I do these, I get responses like taking baths and chocolate and all of these things that we associate when we think about self-care, but that's often associated with white women and not with everyone else. So these are really excellent things like that I'm actually going to talk about: taking breaks, relaxing. Urgency is a very interesting response because it is urgent that we take care of ourselves, and taking care of ourselves is just a radical act in itself. So we'll see if these stay the same, because you all can like keep putting them in as we go. So okay. So self-care is often thought of as selfish and self-indulgent. Self-care is thought about as chocolates, bubble baths, skincare, and shopping sprees. But self-care can be uncomfortable and difficult. Coming to terms with the fact that people that you like, you work with, and care about might be discriminatory and racist can be difficult and painful. Self-care is also emotional. Oftentimes, we, especially as scientists, try to suppress our feelings that make us uncomfortable, but understanding our emotions and how to deal with them is one of the highest forms of self-care. So what do we do for self-care? First and foremost, self-care is taking care of your body and needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs shows that taking care of our physical is the least that we can do to take care of ourselves. We need to have food, water, warmth, and rest to even survive. And a lot of us don't get that. So this means getting at least 6 hours of sleep a night. Sleeping is restorative. It gives our brain time to upload and store new information, cells to regenerate, and also keeps you looking young so you can fight the power with your beauty. And it makes making sleep even better can be done using a sleep routine. I don't know how many of you all have a sleep routine. I always say people should have one. I definitely do not, but I am getting better at just reading at night in the bed and not playing games or getting on Twitter or doing other stuff. I've just been, at least let me read a book to make myself fall asleep. And next, we need to provide our bodies with nourishing food. Oftentimes we let ourselves get too hungry and end up quickly picking something up that might not be the best option. So how is that taking care of ourselves if we're not feeding ourselves in addition to sleeping? Also, movement can be added to this base of our needs. Even doing a 10-minute walk around your office building or going up and down your stairs in your house or outside is helpful. And you need to find something that you like and you know you can do daily and stick with it. A lot of times we think, oh, if we're going to do movement, then we need to join a gym. We need to do all these extracurricular activities when just YouTube is free, watching YouTube videos, walking around your neighborhood if you feel safe. I recently moved into this house that has a ton of stairs. So every time I walk up and down all these stairs to go to the third basement to do laundry and then walk all the way back upstairs to put my clothes back. By the time I do that, your girl is breathing heavily. So that is movement. So we need to be well rested, have good heart health, and running off of plant-based energy can be really helpful to our most radical selves. And also finally getting some sunlight, especially now. I can easily stay in the house for 5 to 7 days straight and not even realize it. My car will be in the same place from Wednesday to Wednesday because that's when I go to campus sometimes. But with daylight getting shorter, a lot of us with seasonal depression or just seasonal SADS, as I call it, sometimes it's not really depression, it's just seasonal SADS. And we need to be diligent about getting sunlight. And sun lamps are very helpful. And I also have an alarm clock that has a natural sunlight on it. So I can set it up for like 10 to 30 minutes of it gradually getting brighter and brighter in my room, which is helpful with it being dark in the mornings now. So, and it's a natural way to wake up. And usually I'm not as angry when I get up. I get up and I start moving rather than hitting snooze multiple times. So we need to start our day gently, end our day peacefully, because we owe that to ourselves and the movement. Feelings. So let's think about feelings. I always think of emotions as data that our brain receives that we have to interpret. So oftentimes when we're doing the work, we're experiencing negative and positive feelings. The negative feelings are the hardest to deal with because we often feel them immediately and strongly, and we don't spend enough time trying to understand that data that we're receiving. And so let's say we're in a meeting and we know that there's never any black people that have been come to be invited to do a talk, or you might not have any in your department. I'm only recently finding out now that I'm one of the first Black women in my department or the first Black woman in my department in 2021. So yeah, like you hear this, or if you're, some sort of ally to something else, you always hear like there's no qualified candidates. And so you give this idea like, oh, we need to invite somebody. And they're like, yeah, that sounds great. And then time keeps happening and nobody keeps getting hired, or people keep saying they're unqualified, or they can't find any qualified people. So this might make us feel angry or sad. But then when we look deeper, we understand that this really might be making you feel lonely or isolated, due to feeling like you're the only person in your department or in your space that's doing the work. So understanding and being better able to name the feelings that you do feel can help you determine what steps you need to do to take better care of yourself. Because forcing yourself to move on or suppress your feelings removes the healing option that you deserve. Self-care is also setting boundaries. We have to learn to say no. Often well-meaning allies depend on BIPOC people to answer all questions about being Black or, whatever, serve on all the diversity committees, mentor all the students of color or even femme presenting, and also be better than all the rest to prove that they belong there. All of these are inappropriate for others to expect, but they are very much in your power to say no to. It can be hard to say no, but there are ways to do it. A passive way that I say no and preserve my time and space is by blocking off my calendar. I prefer to send Calendly invites or only allow certain people to view certain portions of my calendar, so they're just not taking all my time just because you see it. Or whenever, you ask somebody what they're doing and they're like, oh, nothing really. they usually invite themselves to take your time up when you say, oh, I'm not really doing that much. But you can say, I'm taking time to myself. So yeah, in addition to blocking off my calendar, I don't respond to emails after 6 p.m. And if I do respond, because I'm not gonna lie, I do often check my email after I'm supposed to, I schedule them to send during work hours. I was really good at sending emails at like 2 a.m., which made my students feel like they expected responses from me immediately. And I had to learn that, no, let me schedule this for 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., whatever you want to do. And that also shows them that they can do the same thing. And the new iOS for iPhone is wildly intense on the do not disturb option. You get nothing. It is amazing. And that is something that can very much help you. Another way to set boundaries is to write out a script. If you know that people keep asking you for certain things, maybe write out a script so that you know how to handle it. I'm really good at making up scenarios in my head about how I'm going to respond when somebody asks me to do something. And so now when they do, I am like 75% sure I'm going to say no using my script. I might, 25% of the time I might freak out and be like, well, yeah, I'll do it, even though I know I shouldn't. But having that script allows me to know what I'm going to say and stick with it. Because it's too easy for people to, maneuver through it, and then you're not taking care of yourselves by setting those boundaries. So saying no is a radical act of self-care, and that is something that is one of my top things, saying no. Also, you need comfort people. You need people around you that you love, that you trust. My animals, Huey the cat and Stokely the dog, they're always there. The cat has been walking back and forth this whole time, stressing me out. My husband, we have a great time. We know like at 8 o'clock, we both kind of shut down and we spend our time together because that's really the only time that we get to spend together. And then my parents and my family, these are people that I know do their best to understand what I'm going through or what someone might be going through. And even if they can't fully understand it, just knowing that they support you no matter what can make you feel good. And then also including, besides just your family and friends, the people in your field, what you all are doing now is a great source of collective support because you know that these other people understand what you're going through. So to recap, self-care can be really hard, but it's necessary. You have to keep the promises to yourself. When you say you're going to say no, when you're going to block up your calendar, you're going to do whatever, you need to keep those promises to yourself, because if you can't trust yourself, who can you trust? Physical and emotional work are both involved in self-care. So it might be, like I said, setting up a wellness routine. I'm going to cut off the TV at 11 o'clock and I won't cut it back on. I'm going to put my phone away, some sort of routine, because that also allows your body, you to know that you have preserved time for yourself on any given day. And self-care is a part of a radical movement in anti-racism work. I'm not really sure how many of you all are familiar with the NAP ministry, but the NAP ministry says, like, you deserve rest at all times. You don't deserve rest because you've done work, or you don't rest so that you can do more work. You rest to take care of yourself so that you can give the best of yourself to others. And so I have a few apps that I like to recommend to people. These are really good mindfulness apps and meditation apps, and they help with anxiety. And two of them are created by Black people, and Headspace also is like free for a portion of the year. So these are really good meditation apps to help you create your own sense of routine for your mind and your body. So thanks. Let's see what it looks like. I don't know how many of these changes have been made since I was talking. So I'm going to pretend like, you all just took everything that I said, because now I see boundaries exercise, family, resting, community. It really sucks to see guilt, but I know that we all experience guilt, when we try to take care of ourselves. But being selfish is okay. I'm all about being selfish when it makes you a better person. And that's it. I tried to stick to 10 minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Lauren. That was really awesome. Could you put the slide back up real quick that has the different apps on them?
Yes.
I'm going to put them in the chat. So Elevate, Liberate, and Headspace. Now, do you use all of these, or do you pick one?
I use Liberate and Elevate the most, but I also know Headspace is really good, and also the Calm app, but it's a little bit, there's not very many Black or brown people that you hear on the Calm app. So that can be kind of, it's really good, but I need more variety in my voices.
Absolutely, that definitely makes sense. Thank you very much for your presentation. I'm going to stop the recording and then we'll open it up for questions.